Hi everybody, I'd like to show you how to make a really special present for somebody at a low cost, and if you're someone who likes making something, hopefully you'll really enjoy it as well. So what I've made is, it's a clay stone and it's actually made of air drying clay, and I've written onto it one of my favourite quotes, and I'll show that to you, put it a bit nearer. So I've put one of my favourite quotes on. You can write on whichever quote you'd like or whatever message you'd like to do. And I've also drawn a little lotus flower on there as well. And again, you can draw whatever symbol it is important to you. But I'm going to take you through the process and show you exactly how to make this. So like I said before, it's made of air dry clay, so anyone can get that. I've painted it with black acrylic. Anyone can get that. And then I've just used one of those gold gel pens to write on the message. And then after everything is completely dry, you can cover it with PVA glue, and that seals it all in. So, and it protects it. Okay, so the video is going to take you through all of that. If you like the video, can you just please press the subscribe? It's a little red button at the right hand side of the screen. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Okay, so here I have a piece of air drying clay. It's actually called Scola, and I'll mention that a bit more later on. So what I'm doing at the moment is I'm just squeezing the clay into a kind of pebble shape, and I'm also using my thumbs just to smooth it. And the clay is nice and wet, so it's quite easy to move it around. So this probably takes about 10 minutes or so, and you just keep on just rubbing it with your thumbs until you get it to the kind of smoothness that you're really happy with. And so you're just going to keep going like this, and then when you're finished, all you're going to do is just leave it for overnight for it to dry. I'm just showing you all the sides of it, and if you just bang it a little bit so it flattens slightly on the underside, and then it's going to sit really nicely. So yeah, all you're going to do now is just leave it, and then the next morning you will see that it's gone completely dry, so it's changed colour. And I did actually leave it on a radiator, which is why it dried so quickly. So if you don't leave it on a radiator, it will probably take 2-3 days to completely dry out. And so what I'm doing now is I'm scraping it. I've just changed my scraper, because you can just use an ordinary knife to scrape it just to get it even smoother. The thing that I was using before was a clay kidney, but if you haven't got one, it doesn't matter. Okay, so what I'm doing now that I've scraped it, you see you get all these little bits of clay. What you do is you just collect all those little bits of clay dust, and I just put it into a jar, and then I can add a little bit of water to it, and that will just soften the dried out clay, and then it'll recycle it, so it'll turn back into clay and you can use it again. So that's what I do. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get a sponge, a wet sponge, and you're going to sponge it all over. So all the time you're making it smoother and smoother. So the sponging is the last part of getting it to be nice and smooth. So you turn it around and just sponge it all over, and you can feel it. You can feel it getting smoother as you use the water. So you can use as much water, as little water as you like, and then just keep going until you feel that that's smooth enough. Okay, so I am now going to put some colour onto the stone or pebble. I'm using acrylic paint, and I've decided I'm going to do it black, but I'm also going to add a little touch of gold just to make the black just slightly goldish, just to make it a little bit different, so it's not just a flat black. I just want a tiny bit of gold in it as well. So with a paintbrush, I'm just going to mix it all together, and I'll probably need to add a little bit of water so that it isn't too thick. And obviously you need to mix it for a few minutes just to get a really nice consistency. I'm just looking around for a bit of water now. Just put a little teaspoon in and mix it up again. And so soon that will be ready. And I will be painting that straight onto the pebble. And after I sponge the pebble, it dries really, really quickly. So you can actually, while you're mixing up the paint, all that water will be drying off. And so you can just paint onto it straight away. So this is really important. You have to do sections at a time, because if you touch that paint when it's wet, it will immediately peel off. So you have to paint it on one side of the pebble, and then you've got to let that completely dry. So I would leave that for maybe overnight or for a few hours, because you'll find out if you touch that paint now, it will just come off. So, but when it's dry, it won't come off. So I'm just doing the top half, and then I shall just put it down and wait for that to completely dry. Okay, so what I'm doing now, my pebble has completely dried. So I am now using a gold gel pen, and I can write directly onto the pebble with my gel pen. So I'm just writing a few letters now just to show you how it works. Now I did write in pencil, very, very faintly in pencil first onto the black painted pebble, so that when I use the gold gel pen, I knew exactly where all the letters are going to be. So that's something that I think will be helpful. You can just, as long as you can just see the pencil, then that really helps when you're writing on the letters. So you just have to take it slowly. Sometimes you have to put the gel pen on some white paper and just scribble it a bit if it gets a little bit blocked up. But generally I find that it does work really well, and the gold gel ink comes out really nicely. So you just take it slowly and carefully, and you'll get all the letters written out, and they look really nice against the black acrylic. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting in the curves of the lotus flower. And again, I previously did that in pencil, so I can just see where the lines are. Almost finished. Okay, there we go. Oh, and the quote is by Rumi, who is a 13th century Persian poet and mystic. And I think he's left us with such beautiful poems and quotes. He's one of my favourites. So what I'm doing now is, it's all completely dried. So the gold writing and the lotus flower has dried, and I am now covering it with PVA glue. So quite a nice thick coat of PVA glue. Now again, just like the paint, when the PVA glue is wet, don't touch it, because you'll pull it off and you'll pull the paint off as well. So just paint one side and then let that one side dry, and when it's completely dried, turn it around and paint the other side. And that way you won't have any accidents of any paint coming off. And so here we go. It's completely dry now, so I'm just showing you what it looks like. And there's the other side. So nice and shiny, that's from the PVA glue. And beautiful quote. Hope you've enjoyed watching, and thanks very much.